So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Black Force Lunch and Learn. And tonight we are going to continue the series on who is a data analyst. Basically, a data analyst encompasses a lot of aspects in IT. There are different types of data analysis you can venture into. We have the business intelligence, we have the data analytics, we have the data analysis, and we have qualitative and quantitative data analysis. And there's so many career paths you can also get into. Tonight, we are inviting Femi Olasode, a solution architect at AT&T, to give us a very good understanding of what it entails. So he has a case study, and that case study is going to walk you through how to go about getting data, how to extract data, how to load, transform data, and make insightful decision on those data. Okay, so without wasting much time, I'm going to hand over to Femi. Femi, please, over to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jude. My name is Femi Olasode, and I'll say good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are. I'm a solution architect for AT&T in the US, as I said, and I also call myself a data analyst basically because, being a data analyst involves having different kind of roles. So, but I'll just call myself a data professional. So not just to waste our time, he already just gave us an overview of who a data analyst is. Majorly, you are just being asked to analyze data of a particular business or organization, or you're basically want to see trend in that data or whatever the business has to present to you. So this is our business case. I want to believe we can all see my screen. So basically, we'll just treat this particular business case. I'll let us see the data I'm working with. I'll be using Power BI as a tool. There are so many data analytics tools out there. There's R, there's Python, there's SQL, there's Tableau, and there's Power BI. So many of it out there. But for today, we'll be using Power BI to analyze this company's data. Excuse me. So I'll just briefly read the business case. It says, assume you are employed as a data analyst with the task of analyzing the sales data for valuable insights. Your manager is interested in identifying where the company is doing well in addition to tracking problem areas. As you review the data, think of the business questions you aim to address. Use visualizations to answer these questions and illustrate your findings. Following your analysis, consider the important insights you will want to share with your manager. You will be required to build a visually appealing report to track key aspects of the data and be prepared to share a presentation that tells a story that shares your insights in a logical, cohesive, and well thought out manner. So let me just show us the data we'll be working with is actually sales data, no company in particular, but we will call it US regional sales. This is the sales orders sheet, okay, that tells us about our order number, sales channel, location, date, when it was delivered, customer who purchased we also have our customer sheet. All right, these are our customers. We have store locations where the store is being located, by state, address. We have categories. These categories, we are not really looking at products in particular, but we are looking at like different products, under a particular category. So these are the categories we have. And we have regions sheet, just to see that particular region in which that store is. And finally, we have sales team. We have sales team, people that are working for us. They have goals. We might want to look at that too, if possible. But yeah, this is all the data we have. So as I said, we'll be using Power BI as the major tool in this particular session that we're having today, tonight, or whatever time you are at your present location. So first thing is to understand your data. And that's why I actually brought out that data. There's also what we call data dictionary. I'll just briefly open that as well. I won't be reading all that. Okay, but just to let you know, sometimes you need data dictionary to have a good understanding of your data. So this is our data dictionary telling us all what this information is all about, what the sales order sheet is all about, what the customer sheet is all about, and every other information that we have concerning the data that they have given us to really analyze. So as a Power BI personnel or developer, so that's also another thing. Even if I am a data analyst, you could also call yourself Power BI developer since you are using Power BI as your own tool. So a Tableau developer, for example, too, they may also be a data analyst, but they call them Tableau developer. So sometimes it depends on the tool you are using. Sometimes the business just give you a particular role, just to, fit the profile of whatever you are doing in that organization. So how do we start? So in data, there's what we call ETL. It's called that, and ETL simply stands for extract, transform, and load. So one thing is to extract data from a particular data source. So in the business world, there are so many databases. SQL is a database, and there are so many business systems. So your data could be in any form. So just for simplicity, not to make things so complex for us, we are using an Excel file today to have access to our data. So I'll be connecting to that Excel file, and also from there, I'll transform the data a little bit. It's quite a clean data, but sometimes you really need to transform your data, all right, for you to have good idea of what you want to work with. So not to waste our time, in Power BI, the easiest way and very simple way just to get where you want to bring your data from is just to go to get data. So I'll be using an Excel workbook. Basically, there's what we call CSV. That's Excel if it's in a CSV form. But for this particular data that I'm using is in an Excel workbook. So I have to connect to an Excel workbook. I'll select that and also just pick up that. So this is the data called regional cells. I'll choose that particular data, and it's going to present to me an overview of what is in that file. So these are the sheets we'll be working with: categories, customers, regions, sales order, sales team, as well as store location. So I'll bring everything in. Normally, you could just load, but it's not advisable you do that because sometimes you really need to check what you have. Some informations might not be well put in. There's what we call data profiling. For example, a phone number. Okay, maybe the phone number of the country where you are located might be might be 10 digits, might be 11 digits. So you want to really look through that data to be sure that, oh, if it is 10 digits, it has to be 10 digits. Zip code, for example, in the US, most zip code are 5 digits, I believe. And so if a zip code is coming up with 6 digits, then that something is wrong. So you really want to transform your data just to have a feel about that data and do some kind of modification if it is necessary. So I'll click on transform data. I know this green is kind of tempting, like, oh, load. I would tell you not to jump into loading. You want to really transform your data. So I'll click on transform data, and when you do that, it takes you to another tool called Power Query. So Power Query, it's a product of Microsoft. It's actually inbuilt in Excel as well, but we also have that same Power Query in we have that same Power Query here in Power BI. It has its own code called M code. So I'll briefly enlarge this. So this is a code. I personally don't know how to write M code from the beginning. Okay. However, there's a need for me to understand, what some things are doing, transforming column. By the time I start doing a lot of things, you'll be seeing those applied steps. So one good thing about Power BI as a tool or Power Query is that you could just be clicking what you want, and the code will be written behind the scene. So this is not something that, oh, you are scared of, oh, do you have to start learning what M code is at this time? No, you don't have to really start learning M code. All you need to do is to understand some basic thing, when to transform, when to add column and stuff like that. But we'll just try and see what this data is all about, and I'll see how I can clean it, to really help us to do what we want to do today. So let me just start from the top. I'll start with the category sheet. And here we can see we have these two columns. However, it has multiple columns and they are all saying no, no, which I don't need, but it's because it's coming from Excel and that's the way it is. So what do I do? And that's the reason I told us that we need to do what? Transform the column. If I had loaded it, all this will have, come in, load into my Power BI, and which is going to increase the sales file, which is going to really affect the performance of your report. So you don't want that. That's why it's always good to do some transformation. So yeah, I can see that I don't need all these columns. So what do? I can just highlight these two columns that I need, and I can right click here and say remove other columns. I don't want these columns. So I'll remove other columns, and we can see that immediately that step that I just did, popped up here. So every step, so if there's a mistake, you can always trace back your mistake. So, and I think I'm good with these two columns. So looking at that as well, in the column itself, individually, I also have some null. So I have to remove that. So if I click here to filter it, I just need to uncheck the null value, and that's gone. So let me see, right now it's quite clean. I have 47 distinct, unique, 47 distinct, that's good. Also, there's what we call dimension tables, and there's what we call fact table. In Power BI, we use the word lookup, and we also use the word data table. So lookup is also the same thing as dimension. So what do I mean by lookup in this situation is that lookup is a table where you want to look up into an information. So I want to know what category ID 29 is. So I can look up into this particular table and say, oh, ID 29 is a jewelry, right? So that's what a lookup table is. So sometimes it's somehow difficult to understand what a lookup table is, but when you pay a little bit of attention to what you are doing, you definitely know what it is. So I always try to rename my table so that I start identifying my lookup tables and my fact table. So yeah, also another way of identifying is if you have what we call a primary key. A primary key helps us to uniquely identify a value. So I have one here and one is identifying cookware. So you cannot see any other one in this value here. Any other one, that means once you have two ones, then there's a problem. Then it's not really a primary key at that point. So because I have that distinct values, okay, of these digits, and I also have that 47 unique value. So this definitely is a lookup table. So what I will do is just to rename this, all right, and call it lookup. I don't like putting names between my table names, so just to avoid some issues. It's not as if it is wrong, but I like doing it like this. You could put underscore if you prefer that. All right, so I'm done with this particular table. I'll go to the next table, customer sheets. So same thing that I've just explained to us. These are the main two columns, this and this. I have these other columns that are null. So the same thing, I align these two and I will remove other columns. And let me confirm if I have null as well. Same thing, I have that same null. And this is happening majorly because it's coming from Excel. If it's a data from SQL, you may not experience this. Same thing, I'll want to rename this as well and call it lookup. Same explanation as before. It is because this is a lookup table. I can see that it's distinct. I have 50 distinct customers, 50 unique customers. Okay, so one represents A1 core, two represent wake fan, and there's no way I'll see another two that will be having a different name. So definitely this is also a lookup table. Next one is region sheet. I'll do the same thing. I have 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 columns for this one. So I'll just highlight and say remove other columns. All right. And just to be sure that I don't have null value, same thing, try to remove the null value. All right. So this is just some basic transformation. There are some transformation that might be a little bit complex, but this is very basic, and because the data is kind of almost clean, so we don't really need to do a lot of transformation. So same thing, regions, I have Alabama, confirming Alabama here. We have AR confirming. So it's kind of the same thing. These are very unique as well. This a little bit might not be unique because I'm having South here. All right, but in itself, it's unique. It's going to connect to another table that will make it now eventually unique as we want it. But looking at this is my primary key, as regards this region. So let's also rename this. So I'll call this a lookup table as well, regions lookup. All right, I'll go to the next one, sales orders sheets, and just to check if there are any nulls. Okay, this one is complete. I don't have any nulls. Do I have any nulls? Checking each column. No nulls as well. So this is quite good. I just need to rename this. So, but this one is a little bit different. Even though I said something about a unique number. So it seems that this is unique. Okay, I might not have any other number that is being duplicate. But the point is that when you have a table with so many details, and not really so many details, but you have so many information about dates, we have so many information about orders. So for example, let's look at my customer ID, right? Let me just let me check if I can see. So we see customer 16, and I'm seeing customer 16 again here. At this point, it's a foreign key. So when you have a unique key or a distinct key that is duplicate, then it's a foreign key in another table. So if I have a lot of foreign keys in this table, so I have foreign key, I have a store ID, they are foreign. I have category IDs, they are duplicates as well. It simply is telling me that this table is a fact table. So what is a fact table? A fact table is a table that represents events that is happening. So we are recording that, oh, there's a sale 00018777. Sales channel is this, the warehouse code, the order date. So this is a record of an event. So it's a fact table. So I'll name this one sales orders facts. All right. If you are used to SQL, you might see fact as well. Regions lookup, you might see something like dim regions, dim customer. All right. But in Power BI, we use the word lookup. All right. Next one, I'll look at the sales team, and sales team look also lookup. All right, because it's just individually talking about each of my sales team. So let's see, we have 1, 2, and definitely you can see it's saying 29, 28. So there's a problem, all right, but I would be sure if I look at it very well, most likely it might be a null value, but I'll check right now. But before that, let me just remove the nulls that we have here. Okay, so let's look at this. All right, it's the null value that is showing that 29, 28. Okay, so I have 28, 28 now. Definitely it's a lookup table. And lastly, my store location, same thing. Do I have any null? All right, let me remove the null. So we have the store location up to this point. Okay, and let's remove this. All right, let's see if we have any nulls in the row. Same thing. And this is also identifying each store. Store 1 is in Birmingham. This is the county. This is the state. So definitely this is also a lookup table. All right, after I've done that, all I need to do now is to load my data. So the word I mentioned from the beginning saying extract, transform, load. So what I've done so far, I have extracted this data from its data source, which is the Excel file. I have transformed it. It's a basic transformation. There are more complex transformation you could come across, but we just want to make sure we are using one that is kind of very clean. All right, and sorry, this should be lookup. And last thing I'll be doing is to load this data into my Power BI. So I just need to go to Home and click on Close and Apply. Once I do that, it loads itself. You can see loading. Everything loads into Power BI. All right, so in some other tools, it might be different. Tableau, for example, don't do like this. Tableau, you do joins. All right, you do maybe an inner join or a left join, but we are using Power BI, so we just need to do the best way you can use data in Power BI. So we have different tabs. There's a report view, there is a table view, and there is a modeling view. So I'll click on the table view just to see all the data I just brought in, 6 of them. All right, just confirm I have all of them here. All right, then we have to model this data. So as it is, there's no relationship between this data, between this table, and when there's no relationship between you and someone, obviously there will be miscommunication. Like you will not really tell yourselves the truth, or you're probably not really having anything to do with each other. So there's a need for us to communicate. So for us to communicate here in Power BI, what we do is we do what we call modeling. So I'll go to the model view where I will see all my tables, all the tables that I brought in. I'll see all of them. I'm rearranging it. I'll explain why I'm rearranging them like this. And I think there's 6 tables. Is there any other one? All right. So you can, if you notice what I just did is that I assembled all my lookup table up here, and my